excited today. Today marks the official launch of Courtney.co. Courtney.CoMarketing. All right. If you know me, you know that I have been in this digital marketing game going on about 5 years. God has placed it on my heart to build something that can outlive myself, to build something that can help people, their businesses, small, big, medium-sized, grow. And I'm just so excited to share with you what God has placed in my heart. So today is my virtual launch party. Of course, I wanted to do it in person, but COVID. So I said, well, how do I want to celebrate? I want to just give away some knowledge today, give away some information that maybe you have to pay for somewhere else. I brought in some people that are at the top tier, okay, of their industry. They are awesome, they are phenomenal, and they are here to share with you some really amazing tips, tricks, thoughts to help take your brand to the next level. Now, I need you to do me a favor. If you have logged in, I need you to text the link to 5 people, all right? 5 friends that need this information right now. Text it out, send it out. Let them know that we are live. We're doing giveaways today, Amazon gift cards. So maybe you're not a business owner yet, but you can definitely use an Amazon gift card. And if you are a business owner, we're giving away consultations for marketing, branding, advertising, and social media audits. Now, I'm not just going to look at the page and give you feedback. I am actually going to give you a strategy that you can implement on your page. So I think that's worth sharing. We're giving away some real value for the next hour and 10 minutes. All right? That is 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'm not going to go over time. I may even go over the under. Hold me to it, okay? Hit me in the comments, Courtney, your time is up, all right? Let me know, but on ahead, get ready for what we have to offer. Okay, so I see we have about 30 people online, and I'm gonna ask a question, okay? What is, let's see, what's the name? Who can be the first person to type the name of my company in the comments? I'm waiting on that comment to come up. Once you do that, you get an Amazon gift card. Go. I would say to go, but maybe not today. This is a marketing thing, so I'm waiting. First comment. Oh, I see it, Sierra Heather! Woo! So you get an Amazon gift card. If you did not sign up via the Eventbrite link, do me a favor, find me on social media, go send my marketing page on Facebook, Courtney.CoMarketing, a message, and leave your email address so we can get you your Amazon gift card. Okay, what else can I ask you all? Well, I told you a little bit about why I started Courtney.CoMarketing when we first kicked it off. So do me a favor, drop a comment as to why I started Courtney.CoMarketing. Go. Waiting on a comment. And this would be another Amazon gift card giveaway, just so you know. Uh-oh. I don't see any comments. I don't know why I started. All right, I'm gonna tell you again. Oh, we got one. God placed it on your heart. Yes, Belinda, that is exactly why. Do the same thing. Message me your email. Let me know how I can get you your Amazon gift card. Okay, we're gonna do one more giveaway. I told you about how long I've been in this digital marketing world. Can anybody drop a comment how long I've been at this? And then that'll be our last giveaway, and then we're gonna kick it off. Waiting, come on. I said the years. How long? Yes! Alondre said 5 years, and that is correct. Do the same thing. Find me on social media. My Instagram is at Courtney.CoMarketing. So is my Facebook. DM me your email so I can get you your Amazon gift cards. All right, so for our first speaker, this lady, I look up to her so much. She is literally a beast. She is an author. She is a marketing director. She is a branding and strategic marketing specialist, all right? Dare I say expert, okay? And she has something so amazing to share with you. Her name is Sade Presley. Can we go ahead and bring her on stage? Woo!
Woo! Hey guys.
Welcome, Sade.
Hey, thank you so much. I am good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for being willing to share just some knowledge with our audience today.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. I'm super excited and proud of you for starting Courtney.co. I am here to support in any capacity, way, shape, or form. So
thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And when I tell you the next 10 minutes of your time will not, I repeat, they will not be wasted, okay? Can you
I believe that.
A little bit about what you're going to talk about? Just a little bit.
Sure. So we don't have a ton of time because Courtney said we're staying to time. We're not going overtime. Y'all gonna hop in the comments and be like, hey, Sade, you're a little long-winded. But I'm definitely going to talk about what branding is not, and then a couple of tools that you can use for branding, especially if you're just starting out or if you're doing a rebrand.
Awesome. It's going to be amazing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and jump off so I do not take up your time, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Drop any questions that you have in the last 5 minutes, so a 15-minute session total will be Q&A time. See you
okay. Cool. All right, guys. So thank you so much to Courtney for having me on. I am not going to take up a ton of time, but I wanted to give you guys what is branding and what isn't branding, and to get you on the right path if you're just starting out with your business or if you're doing a rebrand. So the first thing that I want to say in reference to what is branding, branding overall is what people know you as or who you are, what the audience or the consumers are saying you are. A lot of times people think that branding is like what you're advertising or what you're putting out into the marketplace. But interestingly enough, a brand is what you get back from the audience when you say, hey, who is Coca-Cola as a company, or who is X, Y, and Z as a company? That is their brand. It is who they are known as in the marketplace. And so the reason why this is super important for you if you're starting a business is because you want, or if you've already started a business, is because you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself in the marketplace correctly to get back the thought that you intentionally had when you were putting your business or whatever your service out there into the marketing place. And so one of the things that most people say is that your brand is based on the consistent message that you are offering within that marketplace. And so marketing is not what you do, it is who you are. If there's anything that you take away from what I say over the next couple of minutes, I want it to be that branding is not what you do, branding is who you are. So let's pick up an example. So Nike, we'll use Nike for an example. Nike, when you think about what they do, Nike makes shoes, tennis shoes, more than likely specifically, that they may make a couple other types of shoes. I don't know, but Nike in its essence, what they do would be creating and selling shoes. That is what they do. Now, who they are as a company, when you look at branding, they're a company who pushes you to move forward. When you look at their branding tagline, it's just do it. When you look at the type of content that they're putting out, it's pushing you forward. It's moving you into doing whatever it is that you want to pursue. It's them empowering you to go ahead and establish whatever it is that you're trying to do in their shoes. So pretty much when you think about Nike and you say, what is Nike's brand? Just do it as their tagline, but their overarching brand would be pushing you to move forward. And so I want you to do the same thing with your business. When you're thinking about branding, when you're thinking about how to brand your business, understand that branding is not sending or putting out into the marketplace a laundry list of what you do. Branding is ensuring that it is clear who you are as a service, as a company, as a person, if you're doing consulting and all of those types of things. So it truly separates you from the pack. I'm trying to think of different types of businesses that may relate to you. So you think about estheticians. There's a ton of estheticians, especially in Georgia. And so branding is the thing that sets you apart from everybody else that does the same thing. So when you think about your service, when you think about your business, when you think about your company, the first thing I want you to think about is, okay, this is what I do, but who am I and what experience do I offer that sets me apart from everybody else? And how can I position myself in the marketplace as that thing? So let's use another example. If you say, hey, I'm an esthetician, and you say, I want to figure out how to create a brand that's solid, create a brand that catches on with different people. The first thing that you have to do when building your brand is decide what your mission, your vision, and your goals are. Who are you? If you have not established who you are as a business or as a service yet, meaning when I say who you are, meaning are you a company or a service that offers convenience? Are you a company or a service that's good for people that are on the go? Are you a company or a business that's good for people who want contactless service for whatever reason, because we're in the space of COVID? So going back to that example of being an esthetician is what you do. But in order to create your brand, you have to figure out who you are. So am I an esthetician that offers convenience, meaning that I'll come to your home? Am I an esthetician that is very personable? So you're a type of person who carries on conversations with the people who would be in your chair. You have to decide your goal. Is your goal for doing esthetician work to build relationships with women, or is it to simply offer a service? Do you have organic herbs, which is something that everybody else may not do? Do you do custom facials? All of those things go into your brand. Who you are, what sets you apart from everybody else that does what you do. Once you've decided your mission and your vision, and you move into a different space of being able to write that down on a sheet of paper, and me and Courtney will get into the fact that I have something that's called a brand questionnaire that'll help you kind of flesh out who you are as a business to create that brand. But once you get to the point where you understand your mission, your vision, and your goals, they will put you in a space where you can now effectively begin to communicate who you are. So what sets you apart from everybody else that does what it is you do? That is where you're focusing in on, honing in on to ensure that you are communicating your brand effectively. So once you get to that point, there are a couple of tools that you can use to communicate that brand out into the marketplace. Branding tools pretty much include some of the simple things. So definitely your logo. You want to be sure that your logo communicates who you are, and like I said, how your service or what you do and who you are separates you from everyone else who does what it is that you do. So an example of that would be, if let's go back to being an esthetician. If you're an esthetician and you say, okay, as an esthetician, who I am is someone that specializes in convenience. I want people to feel like I respect their time. I want them to feel like they can make an appointment at the very last minute if they have to. If convenience is the brand that you are going for, or if an ease is the brand that you are going for, then that is something that should be communicated in your logo. And working with graphic designers, really good graphic designers will have you to do a questionnaire, ask you some questions that will lead them to different things that can communicate what your brand is or what it is you're trying to communicate about who you are as a business. So if you come up with a company name as an esthetician, something about that name should lean on having an ease or a convenience if that is the brand that you are going for. The second branding tool, or actually the third, because the first one is your name. So definitely your name is your number one branding tool. Second one would be your logo. And the third one would be your website. There's so many people who start off businesses, especially businesses that need to offer more information than just the post. It's very important to ensure that when you launch your business that you're starting out with a website. Whenever I've worked with anyone who's starting a new business, after you select your name and put in your paperwork, which is more of a legal thing than a branding thing, the very next thing is to grab your names on every platform possible. And that's so that your branding can be cohesive. So if you know, let's use Courtney for an example, that she wanted to be Courtney.co. The minute that she did her paperwork, she should have made sure that she had the website. She should have made sure that she had the Instagram handle. She should have made sure she had the Twitter handle. She should have made sure that she went ahead and set up the Facebook handle, so that when she began to market, that brand continuity is there because she's the same across all of those platforms. One of the things that can happen, especially if you start moving really fast, or if you have a business that starts up and it just blows up out of nowhere, is you can have different things under different names. And from a branding standpoint, that could make things really difficult. So you want to ensure that you have a website and that your names across platforms, as much as you can, are the same. The next thing would be packaging, which is a big thing in branding, especially if you're a company that does any type of shipping. So if you do t-shirts, if you do mugs, if you do stationery, books, anything, if you are shipping anything from your place of business to somebody else's place of business, I want you to understand that from a branding standpoint, your packaging is very important. Incorporated within your branding is who people perceive you to be, but also how you make those people feel. And so when a person receives a package from someone and it's something and it's just wrapped in plastic and stuck in a what are those things called? An envelope. It's a different experience than getting something that's in a colored envelope that matches the brand, that is wrapped and it has a sticker on it or a label on it, that has the brand logo, that has a note inside of it. All of those things go into impacting your brand, how people experience things with you. You think about huge brands like Coca-Cola. When you think about what they do, it's make beverages. When you think about who they are, they talk. It's been different amongst the years, but it's about getting people together. Their overarching brand is bringing people together. When you think about their packaging and delivery, they've had campaigns where they put people's names on their bottles and their cans and different things like that. And so in all of those spaces, they all speak to bridging the gap and bringing people together, making people feel like community. All of those things go into a brand. And so that tool would be packaging. So you have your name, your logo, your website, and packaging. What number am I on? 1, 2, 3. The fifth one, sorry, would be business cards. I'm actually super horrible with business cards. I tend to never actually have business cards on me, but it is actually very important from a branding standpoint to also ensure that your business cards match the messaging that you're trying to portray and the experience that you want to give to the people who are supporting your business. And then last but not least is social media. From a social media standpoint, you want to ensure that the experience in who people know you to be is communicated within your social media feed. When you think about, and I'm going to use Courtney and my relationship to kind of explain this part. When you think about a person having never met you and they go on a page and you're a consultant or you're a speaker, technically your life and the things that you place on your page are nailing a nail into your brand. And so that's how a person is experiencing you. And that is how they're deciding who you are. So whether you're a person because it's a consulting business or it's a service page because you're offering a service, you want to make sure that the things that are on that page are consistently putting content into the marketplace that are displaying who you want people to see you as or how they want you to see and or experience their services. So if you say, hey, I'm a women's empowerment speaker, then that means that when I go onto your page, yeah, you may want to see some things about this person speaking because that's what they do. But you also want to see who they are. If your brand is, I'm women empowerment speaker, then I need to see pictures of you with other women. I want to see quotes and or content that is in that direction of empowering said women. And so those are just some of the tools that you can definitely use to ensure that you are making the best use of the platforms currently available to definitely drive your brand message home. And then also ensuring that you're not always just talking about what you do, but that you are helping people to understand that who you are. Understand that because there are so many businesses and so many services that do the exact same thing, that when a person decides to spend their money, they're not just buying a product or buying a consultancy, they're also buying you as a person. And they're also buying an experience that your service and or product provides. And so that brand is what helps people to understand what it is and who you are as a person, which helps them to decide between one thing or another. It's the major difference. It's the difference between a person who says, hey, I'm going to buy Pampers versus I'm going to buy Huggies. It's the same difference between a person who says, I'm going to go to European Wax Center or instead of going to Rio Wax Center, just from a standpoint of the consistent messaging that they put into the marketplace and how it makes you feel and perceive who they are. I think I'm actually at my time, Courtney. You can let me know.
You are, girl, but that was really good. It was really, really helpful. And I was great. Check mark, I did that. Check mark, I did that. Check mark, I did that. So my branding is on point right now. So thank you for that. Thank you for checking me. So I have a question because we're going to do a giveaway real fast before we let you go.
Okay, cool.
You said branding is, can somebody fill in the blank for us? Can somebody fill in that blank?
And I went pretty quick, so I'm sorry.
I thought it was great. Did you all enjoy it? If you enjoyed it, go ahead and tell us that in the comments too. I already saw some people saying, wow, this is really helpful information. Somebody said, that's a word. I think it was really helpful. Does anybody know?
This is like speed conferencing. I've never done anything like this before.
Not speed conferencing. That's hilarious.
That's what this is like.
Oh, Gregory Johnson, he hit it. Branding is ensuring that you're clear on who you are. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sade. We're about to keep it moving. Like you said, speed conferencing. This is a speed lesson, branding 101, and we're headed to advertising 101. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you.
All right. So this next individual who is, I would say, an advertising guru, so to say. We used to work together at a, rapidly growing digital marketing firm based in Atlanta. When I say they have just reached exponential growth year over year over year over year, right? And now she is one of the top leadership in that company. She is really, really amazing at what she does. Can you bring on Miss Jennifer Budney?
Hi, Courtney. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Can
Absolutely.
you tell me what you're going to talk about a little bit?
Absolutely. So I'm going to be talking about advertising and hitting specifically on how to pick a starting advertising budget, which is a question I get a lot, and I know a lot of people at my company get a lot.
Yes, it is so true. So go ahead, get your notepad out for this, okay? If you didn't have it out before, you have a chance to redeem yourself. Take notes because we're asking questions and we're giving away another consultation. See you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. I'm going to start my timer. Sade, I feel like a bobblehead. I was literally nodding along to everything you said. So true. And one of the things you said was you need to be able to position yourself in the industry and against some of your competitors, which is really important to advertising. What Sade was talking about is taking your brand and figuring out what are your unique selling points? What make you different from another competitor? And those are going to be what's really important when it comes to advertising. That's going to be what grabs somebody in and makes them pick you over a different person who's advertising on the same platform. So I know one of the things we're going to be talking about is how do I pick an advertising budget? And unfortunately, there is no one size fits all answer to what should my advertising budget be. It's going to come down in the end to testing, and more testing. The good news is, though, there's a ton of things you can do to get started off with advertising that will lead you to your perfect budget. So those things are, what platform do you want to advertise on? That's everything from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, even Google, and as far as Pinterest. Who is your audience? And that's an interesting question, because once you've branded yourself, you need to ask yourself, do I know who my audience is? Who exactly am I trying to reach? And if you already have a built-in audience, you're a little bit ahead of the game. A built-in audience can be purchases on a website or in store. It can be a customer list, like an email sign up. It can be page likes on Facebook, or even if you've already put some kind of a pixel on your website, maybe trying to track website visitors. That can all be incredibly useful information when you ask the question, who is my audience? Next can be campaign objective. So if you're advertising on something like Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, what are you trying to get your audience to do? It's important to note that some advertising platforms cost more money depending on what you're trying to get out of them. If you're just trying to get page likes, your cost could be as low as 10 cents per page like. If you're looking for something like a conversion, like a purchase, or maybe getting somebody to sign up for a consultation, the price can start to go up and up. So knowing what am I trying to get people to do will also help you pick a budget. Then one of the other things you need to consider is, well, what type of business am I? Which goes hand in hand with campaign objective. If you're online only, maybe you're trying to get people to make a purchase. If you are a brick and mortar store, maybe you're looking for some extra traffic, especially right now. Or if you're a B2C service where you're serving other customers, or a B2B service where you're serving other businesses, maybe you're trying to get people to sign up for a newsletter using a discount, or sign up for a free consultation. Those are all very important questions to ask when setting your advertising budget. So, one of the things I wanted to explain, I hear a lot as a mystery of how do ads work. I'm going to hit specifically on Facebook because it's one of the biggest advertising platforms out there. So people ask me all the time, well, how does Facebook choose to show my ad in the first place? And how do I choose a budget to go along with that? Well, the good news is not every time does the biggest budget win. So sometimes you as a smaller company could beat out a larger business depending on one of three factors. And those factors are: one, your advertiser bid. Every time you set a bid limit or a campaign spending limit on Facebook, Facebook does take that into account on who they show their ads to. The next is ad quality and relevance. Again, if you've really honed your audience, the people who are being shown your ad have a reason to use your product, which means your relevancy score and your quality score are going to be excellent. Then the next is estimated action rates. And this is what's really interesting about Facebook and other ad platforms. They have a way to tell who is going to be most likely to click on what ad. Me personally, I tend to click on a lot of video ads, so Facebook may be more willing to show me a video ad as opposed to just a plain text and graphic ad. So I know everybody came to figure out, well, how much do I start with? And that, again, is a very interesting question. Be wary of anybody who tells you to start off at a specific budget without having the proper data to back that up. I did a lot of research to help everybody today, and something I saw pretty consistently was you can start advertising for as little as $1 a day. And while that's definitely true, those articles are really pointing you to the very beginnings of advertising. So if you're starting your business from the ground up, what you want to do first is get people to know about your brand. And that can be done, like I said, for as little as $1 a day, because that's Facebook's minimum advertising spends. Other platforms like LinkedIn take monthly advertising spends into account, and you have to spend at least $300 a month. So there's a couple factors to take into consideration when we talk about advertising, and that's things like how much are you planning to spend, maybe how much does it cost to send somebody to your website, how many people that come to your website are ending up purchasing, and then what's your average purchase value? When people do go to your site, how much are they spending? And again, this is specifically for e-commerce brands. So taking all that into account, you can figure out what you should spend per month. I like to say a great place to start for a small, just starting out business is $500 per month. Keep in mind, I have plenty of data to back that up, but if you're looking to spend anywhere $500 to $1,000 per month, you can get a campaign set up from the top of funnel to the bottom of your funnel so that you can start getting customers on your website or possibly bringing people into your store. The last thing I wanted to touch on are a couple of hints or tools you can use. So if you are advertising, let's say on Facebook, I like to keep the number 100 in mind. If you see 100 website visits or 100 clicks on your ad and there are no results so far, that's a key to switch it up. And that's not a problem because remember, the best thing about advertising is that you test, test, and test again. If you are looking for tools to use to figure out your audience, which will in fact tell you how much money to spend on Facebook per month or per day, I like using SEMrush, which is a paid tool that gives you insight into where people are going on the internet and what they might be searching for. I like to use Google Analytics and Google Keyword Research if you're planning to advertise on Google. I also like to use Facebook Audience Insights. This is a really great way to see if you are a brick and mortar store, you can see who's on Facebook in your area, maybe what ages they are, what interests they have, so you'll have an easier time targeting them later on. And that is all I have for basics of advertising and how to find your beginner advertising budget.
Thank you so much, Jen. That was really, really good. I saw some of these comments. Thank you for breaking it down. I'm taking notes. Wow, you made it so clear. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to let you choose the question for the giveaway.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do... Let's say, what is the key to advertising and what is going to make you successful over time?
Ooh, 2 parts. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, while they get a second to just kind of fill in those comments and answer that question, will you tell me what has been your greatest difficulty when it comes to making your advertising campaigns profitable?
Absolutely. So it really depends. There's a ton of competition out on the internet right now. Everyone is trying to advertise and everybody's trying to get their products in front of somebody right now. So what I'll say is if you don't spend the time up front to figure out who your audience is, or maybe if you want to say, well, right now I want sales. I don't necessarily want to just send people to my site to start off with. That can be really difficult because you're trying to climb a very steep hill as opposed to taking a little bit longer of a journey and seeing more results later on. So I would say competition is really big. And then taking the necessary steps at the start, like figuring out your audience, deciding what platform, and setting up a budget based on actual data that you have will all give you more success over time than just throwing out a wild number and going for it head first.
Yeah, that's good. It's true. It's an uphill battle if you don't have your funnel in place.
Absolutely.
You're just kind of throwing money away. So that's golden knowledge. Do we have any comments with the right answer yet?
Ash got it.
All right, Ashley Dublin, we see you. You win a free marketing consultation in one of 3 areas: branding, social media, or advertising. You get to take your pick. Go on ahead and message me at Courtney.CoMarketing on either Facebook or Instagram. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on and with us today. So grateful for you. I love you.
Love you. Thank you very much.
Bye. All right. We have made it to our 3rd and final speaker. This particular speaker, I think you're going to just love what she has to say. Let me just tell you really quick a little bit about her. All right. We also used to work together, and now she works for True Glory Brands. Now, that may not ring a bell to you, but what about True Glory Hair? That is one of the largest extension weave distributors in Atlanta. All right. And we have literally the queen of content, the queen of copywriting. I send a lot of my stuff through her. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. Anik, what do you think of this? It's her that I'm sending it through because she is so awesome at what she does. Can we bring her on stage? Hey.
Hello. Hey. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me?
Excited. Yes, I see you. I hear you. If you guys can't see or hear her, let her know in the comments. But I see and hear you fine, girl.
Okay. All right.
You ready? Okay.
I'm
all right. Well, I'm going to slide your way then. All right.
Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank Courtney once again for bringing me on. Like she said, we used to work together. In a way, it's like we still work together. We are constantly bouncing ideas off of each other, and it's just really, really great to have that type of friend, and also to see this business bloom into what it's blooming into. It's just really, really fun to be a part of, and I am beyond proud of her. But today I am going to but we're going to get into what I like to call a content cocktail. And this is basically different parts that go into content creation, because
Making sure you know that you were off.
sorry guys, my mom called me. My apologies. But I'm not sure if you guys heard me or anything. I'm going to be giving you all a content cocktail today. Because I realized that a lot of people actually struggle when it comes to creating content and captions in particular. But when it comes to content marketing, you want to start out with your base of your cocktail. And your base is your branded post that lets your audience know different things about your business. You can give background tip or background information and all that types of stuff. Next, you have your sales posts, because you want to let people know what it is that you're offering, what you're selling, what's your current promotion, what they can look forward to in the coming weeks, and how they can shop with you and save with you. Lastly, you have your share post, which is, it's not necessarily information about your business, but it's information that aligns with your industry. And your consumers can benefit a lot from that. So that's just your base. So your brand, share, and sell post. The main part of the cocktail that I like to use is the juices, as I like to call them. It's your filler post, like your customer reposts, your celebrity inspo and influencer posts, your goal posts, like if you have hair goals per se, your mood quotes. Everyone loves a good mood, because we can all we can all correlate with those types of things. And then, I mean, there's just so much more. And what I like to call the cherry on top of the cocktail for content is memes. Everyone loves memes. They're always going to get a few hee-hees and ha-has. So never be afraid to incorporate memes, especially if they align with your brand. And the platform that I like to use when it comes to content creation is Planoly. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Planoly. And the reason I like this one is because it allows you to upload all of your pictures. You can arrange them because a lot of people are into aesthetics right now. So if you want your feed to flow, if you want it to be color coordinated, if you want it to be a picture here, quotes in the middle, and whatever else on the side, it allows you to plan out everything to the T. And once you have your pictures in line, that is when you get into thing. When it comes to captions, you always want to be as descriptive as possible because no one likes a boring caption. If you're trying to sell me a red dress, I don't want you to tell me, oh, buy this red dress. I won't. I need extra details that come to it. Let me know why I need to buy it. So you can come up with a caption like, who doesn't love a red dress that pops on every skin tone, that hugs your curves, that turns heads, and all of that good stuff? Tell them to click the link in the bio to purchase with you. You have to be as descriptive as possible when it comes to captions because the right wording will entice people. It's going to get people to, it's going to make them want to know more about you. It's going to send them to your website. It's going to make them shop with you. So you have to be as descriptive as possible. If you can't find descriptive words, the source is going to be your number one friend. Like the source is bookmarked on my computer and on my phone. As soon as I type up TH, it's the first thing that comes up. It has synonyms for everything. So if you don't want to say pretty, if you feel like you use the word pretty too often, there's beautiful, there's gorgeous, there's miraculous, there's every word that you need to get your point across as you're trying to say the word pretty. So thesaurus is going to be your best friend. Also, blogs and shameful gossip sites. I love reading blogs and gossip sites. They're very, very fun when it comes to captions. Like the way that they arrange their words and the wordplay is very, very funny. And a lot of times I'm able to take one of their captions, I can rearrange the caption just with a few words, take the last few words from the ending of their caption, put it at the front, put a few synonyms in there, and you have an entirely new caption. So I guess my biggest takeaway when it comes to creating captions is let your creativity flow. Be as fun as you want. Do not spend 30 minutes making one caption because what I found that does is it blocks your creativity. And like you just start to nitpick on it. Don't do that. Create a caption, say what you're going to say, go back to it later on. You might want to switch out a few words here and there, but do not recreate the entire caption because then you're always going to overthink it. And captions are never fun when they're overthought. The best things in life, captions included, they just flow. So read books, read gossip sites. I hate to say that, but seriously, read gossip sites because they're always fun. They're very funny. They're very trendy. And it's just a really, really good way to get your point across when it comes to your content creation. And music quotes are always really, really fun. Music is a universal language. So a lot of times, I don't know if people notice it, but a lot of times brands will use music quotes as their captions, and they might follow it by something else like letting you know what it is that they're offering or something like that. But a lot of times brands use music quotes. So don't be afraid to listen to music while you're creating content. I mean, don't take their whole entire song, but like just a quick little snippet, almost like how you do for when you're creating a post for yourself. It's the same thing when it comes to content creation for a brand. Just let it flow, be as fun as you want to. Send it to friends if you need to, but I just kind of let my creativity flow. And also, one thing that I do is my notes app on my phone, it's always up and it's always running, because anytime I can look at this right here and I might be inspired to create a quote, a caption, and I might not be in front of my computer to remember that caption, but I always just keep an entire list of captions in my notes, and I can always go back to them and add them to my content calendar, move a few things around, and go from there. So content creation is really just all about creativity, having your base, and I'm gonna give that to y'all again, is your brand, share, and sell, but also spicing it up with your consumer reposts, because that's another way to really bring in a lot of content. When people see that they can be featured on your page, they're going to be more enticed to tag you all the time. So don't forget to repost your consumers, show them some love. Um, Also, you have the celebrity inspired posts and all of those good things, your mood quotes, and then of course your cherry on top, your meme. And then another thing, I guess when it comes to looking at pictures, maybe pick one thing out of the post or out of the picture that you're looking at to really highlight. I find that helps a lot of people also when I talk to them when it comes to creating captions and content. Look at one thing in particular about that picture that you would like to highlight that obviously aligns with your brand, and just go from there. Never make it more complicated than it has to be. Content and social media in general is supposed to be fun. So always have fun when it comes to content creation. And I think that is about it.
Thank you so much, Anik. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for pushing through all these technical difficulties, okay?
Yes, girl, I'm sorry. It's my mama calling me. My God. I'm
It's
so
all right.
sorry.
I was over here. I said, obviously, the devil is trying to block somebody's blessing, but we're going to push through. That's what my mind was saying. But it's all right. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the knowledge that you shared.
Thank you for having me.
My question for your social media audit giveaway is, what is Anik's favorite place to get content from, y'all? She said it like 3 times. What is her favorite place? First person to comment gets a free social media audit with hosting strategy. So while we're waiting on them to write in some answers, could you maybe tell us the difference? I know that you kind of came from a corporate setting where we worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're writing for a hair extension brand. How is that transition for you? Oh, we have a She was listening.
Yes, it's a guilty pleasure. I love it.
Do me a favor, Nia. Make sure that you send me a DM at Courtney.CoMarketing with your email address so I can make sure that you get your social media audit and strategy. All right, so what would you say is the difference between when you were in a more corporate setting and then that transition to writing for a hair brand, which typically is a lot more fun, lighthearted, more emojis? Like, was there a struggle there? How did you conquer that transition?
It wasn't a struggle at all, because coming from the corporate world, I had already had a few hair extension companies, so I kind of understood the tone and the lightheartedness that came from writing for hair extension companies. But the company that I'm at now, they just kind of allow me like just full control when it comes to social media. So sometimes I actually don't even have to write about hair. Like, I know not too long ago, I know a lot of people were talking about like insecure, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna talk about insecure today because I mean it just goes hand in hand like with the culture. So I'm not afraid to incorporate those types of things into our content. And also I did forget to mention as far as analytics when it comes to social media. Sometimes you're not going to have a perfect strategy. What you think is going to perform well,
Ooh,
it might not always do that.
preach on that.
Please rely on your analytics. Go back and see what performs well. I know one thing for me, there's a specific hair texture for us. It
Wow.
always gets shares, it gets saved, it gets
Wow.
all the comments, all the likes. So you really, really have to pay attention to what it is that your audience really, engages with. So aside from the captions, maybe also take a look at the pictures also and really look at those analytics. Look at the times that you should be posting. There's peak times of every day that you should be posting. On Mondays, your peak time might be 6 o'clock. Don't post at 12 o'clock. Post at 6 o'clock if you want to get as much exposure as possible. And yeah, so look at your analytics. Also, make sure you bookmark the source so you can have your synonyms. Because I'm telling you, you want to be as fun as possible, and you don't want, forgive me for saying this, you don't want to use like basic words. You want to use fun, vivid, descriptive words that are going to entice people. So,
Stop in the scroll, right?
huh?
Stop in the scroll. That's the whole point. You get somebody to stop. Ooh, what was that?
Right.
And then
use emojis.
Yeah.
Use emojis, things that are gonna pop out at people. I'm giving y'all a hint, or I'm giving y'all one of my real gems. If we're having a sale, I'm putting the fire siren because I want y'all to stop. I want you to stop what you are doing. Stop scrolling. We are having a sale. Look at what we are offering. So don't forget to use emojis also.
Got you. Well, Anique, thank you so much, sis. You're not about to go anywhere. I actually want to bring everybody back.
Ooh.
Yes, for just a little chit chat. Just a little chit chat. All right. If you have a question that you didn't get to ask any of these three ladies, now is the time. While you all are dropping your questions in the chat, we're going to play a little game. Never Have I Ever Business Edition. Okay? So it's not a lot of questions. It's just like, 3, 4, maybe 5. But go ahead and let's just raise our hands if it is applied to us. And I will admit to, because the reality is this professional world, this professional life, you have to grow into it sometimes, okay? All right, so we've talked about branding. We all have these backgrounds in social media and making sure that our brands are, tucked in tight. But sometimes I know I get a little sloppy on my personal stuff. So the question is, never have I ever not used hashtags in a post. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. Next one. Never have I ever not used a low-res photo on my page. Ooh. Yeah. But I know that we've all gotten better because praise the Lord for iPhones in 2020 and the cameras.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, I got an iPhone and I posted a low res like 2 days ago. So I just, it was a throwback though. It was a throwback. So
okay, forgiven.
Throwback low res photos do not count.
Okay, great. I'm safe then. I'm safe.
Those don't count. All right. Never have I ever forgot to attach something to an email that I was sending to a client.
All the time.
Yeah. That's the thing. And never have I ever missed a client call. Yeah.
This week alone or ever?
Right. And now this one's just a little more serious. Never have I ever doubted myself as a businesswoman. Yeah, all the time. It's like a part of life. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
So how do you defeat that doubt as ladies who are all thriving and working and growing your businesses? How have you sat down and just kind of like just defeat that when it comes up inside of you for those who are business owners watching?
I'll jump in real quick first. I think for me, I keep things from like 5 years ago in a space where I can put my hands on them. And so for me, when I'm able to open a journal and see like, oh, these are the things I said I was going to do 5 years ago, and these are the things that I've done off of that list. How dare I look at what I'm saying I want to do right now and just say, I can't do it. And it's like 5 years ago, you didn't think you could write a book and you did it. And now you've written, X amount more. So I think it's about kind of calling to remembrance what you thought you couldn't do before that you did to give you inspiration to keep going.
That's good. Anybody else?
I'll go. I know personally, one thing that I can get wrapped up in is comparing myself to others. We're on Instagram and Facebook and social media so often for our jobs. It is hard to not compare your journey to someone else's. Yeah. And just because you might not be in a certain place or somebody got there faster, and I hate using that word because everybody's journey is different, but because somebody got where you wanted to go doesn't make your journey invalid. Sometimes you have to put, even though we're on social media all the time, you have to put your blinders on and respect what other people are doing 100%, but remember that what you're doing is still important as well.
Yeah, that's real. I know even for myself journeying to this place, like transparently, I feel like I've been talking about it way too long, you guys. Like, I feel like it's been something that has been in my mind, on my heart, and I should have produced it faster. Now, God has also said to me in my time, you know what I mean? Even if you feel like you're behind with social pressure or familial pressure, right? This happened exactly when it needed to happen. So I've just been trying to find, rest in that and just praising God along the way. But I definitely have been saying to myself along the way sometimes, girl, you haven't done this yet. What's your problem? Speed up. If you all had one thing that you could share before you jumped offline, just one thing, one liner actually, what would it be to everybody watching?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. If you had one thing that you could share to everybody watching, which of course this event was marketed towards small business owners. So that one gem that you could give them, what would it be?
I think mine would be revisit your brand and your marketing once a year. I say that because the marketplace changes daily. You change as a person over seasons. And what you started with 5 years ago could be completely different than what you need to be doing next year. And so, not to get super deep, but even in the word when it talks about God gives us daily bread, daily wisdom. So it's kind of don't remain in a stale marketing or branding space when there's something new on the horizon. So set a marker for yourself to revisit the branding or the marketing for your business, for your service, or whatever it is, to ensure that you're capitalizing on the analytics that you've gotten from years prior, and then also making sure that you're super strategic about your goals moving forward. So
yeah, that's good. Anybody can go.
I would say mine is to write things down. I am a firm believer in if you guys follow me on my own personal stuff, I am constantly writing stuff down. I'm always updating my vision board. I just believe when you write things down and you're able to see it, it's a constant reminder of what you're striving for. And it allows you to measure your successes, and celebrate your wins along the way. A lot of people, I don't feel like people give themselves the credit and the recognition that they should. Um, I guess you can say people want instant gratuity, and you have to celebrate yourself for doing small things along the way, even if it's like if you're creating your marketing brand. If you just come up with the name, that is a small success because it's a building block to get into the next thing. And writing it down, like when you get to that ending place and you look back on how far you've come, like it's very, very rewarding. And I just think that it keeps you on the right track. So make sure that you guys write things down and put actions behind your thoughts and watch them come to fruition.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Jen, what about you?
Sure. So I'm pretty sure everybody else said it today, but as a small business owner, it's really important to pay attention to the numbers. This business that you're creating from the ground up, which is such a special experience, something I haven't experienced personally, but it's difficult to look at the numbers and find value in the numbers themselves because you may have goals that you've set for yourself along the way. But I think Anik said it as well. If you go back to the numbers and the data that you're seeing, let that help guide you forward, especially just what I spoke on today when it comes to advertising. There can be a lot of noise coming in from other places, or maybe you had somebody tell you, oh, you're spending X amount of money, that you should spend more or less than that. Look back to your data and what's happened on paper so far, and don't let somebody else tell you where you should be or where you should go from there. Let the numbers speak for themselves.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing. We're about to wrap up. We're almost done. We want to get you out on time. Can we get a couple of questions now? And anybody, feel free to answer it. Go for it. All right. How do I build followers for a specific audience? Anybody?
I was going to say the quickest way is hashtags.
Yes,
My experience.
that was exactly what I was going to say. Using hashtags that are relevant to your audience because they're looking a lot of the times at that type of content.
Yeah, for sure.
Hashtags, but also if you want to organically grow your audience, you can go and look at some of your competitors, their posts, see who's engaging, follow them, strike up like a small conversation to kind of spark, the little spark in their mind. It's like, let me go to their page and see what it is that they're offering. So hashtagging and then going and looking at your competitors and following some of their followers also, because they're more prone to follow you back and they want to know what it is that you're offering.
And I'll add to that, actually. I think one of the most profound statements I've ever heard in any social media training that I've had is, it's a social platform, so be social.
Social, yeah.
Comment back, repost your DMs, message people back when they're messaging you. All of that stuff is super important to growing your following, letting Instagram and the algorithm know, hey, I'm here. So,
yeah.
Ooh. Are deadlines more important, or is it more important to be adaptable?
I love my deadlines. Again, like I said, I write everything down, so you will see in my planner like that whole week, like this is due, that is due, this is due. I think it allows me to pace myself. I know how fast I can work or how slow I need to be doing it. It allows me to go back, revise it, add a few things to it, and just, make it as nice as I want to. I don't like to wait to the last minute for things at all. I definitely believe in deadlines and meeting them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what kind of deadlines are we talking about? Are we talking about deadlines that you gave yourself? And so in comparison to being adaptable, where it's like, okay, I said on Tuesdays I would post vlogs, but then it's the week of, and it's the week Kobe died. So now do I need to adapt to the marketplace versus meeting my own deadline? I think it just depends on the question. To Anik's point, I think you need to meet deadlines. Just if you have a client and things like that, that's the way that you keep business, because relationships is everything when you're talking about having your own business and clients. So meeting deadlines is definitely more important. And then I would say adaptable is second. So there you go. So if you have a deadline, make sure that the content that you would have needed to meet that deadline is there. But if it's a space where you can be adaptable to meet what's going on in the marketplace, then that would be second. So still meet your deadline, but if you want to plug something else into that space to be adaptable, that's cool too. But I think you should always manage yourself to meet the deadline.
Yeah. And I was going to say that to further your point, it is so situation by situation based. So you really just kind of have to enact out with wisdom on that and know yourself and know all facets of the situation as well as possible, and then determine, is this an adaptable moment, or is this I'm fixed in this and I have to move either left or right and meet that deadline. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, just coming from like a management standpoint, I don't think there is anything else. If I had to choose a person for my team based on who meets the deadline and who's adaptable, I'm probably going to choose the person who meets the deadline.
yeah.
So I don't know.
No, that's real. That's real. What is the best way to start networking with other people in the business? Ooh, I think that's really industry specific. Wouldn't you guys say? Like for marketers, like there's so many hubs, spaces, Facebook groups that are available, but maybe you are a podiatrist. That may prove a little more difficult for you because where they reside, like where their home is different. But find what social circles that they're in and then go be in those too.
Yeah, I would say start with the people you work with. I think in a lot of different spaces that I've worked in, like a marketing capacity, I've been in kind of like companies where you have a bunch of people who are like brilliant, but outside of work, they don't speak to each other. They don't know anything about each other. And there are people who could help you in that space, but you don't develop relationships with the people who literally sit next to you every single day. So I say if you're in an entrepreneurship space, but you're also surrounded by people because you may have a part-time or a full-time job at the same time, take advantage of that. If you're in school, take advantage of the people who are in your classes. I think about the people I graduated college with who now work for like record labels and do all of this crazy stuff that I still am in contact with just because I got to know the people who are beside me. So I say start with the people beside you.
Anyone else on that?
Definitely. I mean, from my own personal experience, definitely get to know the people that you work with, but don't be afraid to join like Facebook groups.
Yeah.
I've met some really, really, really good people through Facebook and like actually built genuine relationships with these people. Like if they know somebody who is looking for a freelance social media marketer, I'm getting recommendations all the time just by speaking to people on social media. And then also attending networking events. Like I love going and talking to people, enjoying a cocktail from here and there. But yeah, I mean, you really just, you have to put yourself out there. Like that's just the best way to do it. Is put yourself out there, be genuine, and help other people. Like you're gonna get what you put out. So if you're trying to help other people and motivate other people, you're gonna get that in return. So just be good to other folks and network as much as possible.
I was gonna say that was a whole word right there. Be nice to other people, because when you go to these networking events, I would say go, and especially if you're not comfortable talking to other people, go with a question that has nothing to do with business, just to break the ice.
Okay.
Because when it comes to like, especially like music and entertainment, there may be for some people in the industry already a wall up about like, what are you about to ask me for? What do you want me to do for free? Type of a vibe.
Right.
And so in networking, what she said is really important in terms of just having a good overall personality and being genuine. So
yeah.
Okay, this will be our last question. If you sell on Amazon, should you use Facebook to advertise, Amazon to advertise, or both?
I can start just because I see this question all the time. This is an amazing question. And I would say, and this is just me speaking personally, as a data person, go to the platform that's going to give you the most information about who is seeing your ads and who is purchasing your products. If you do want to advertise, I would suggest starting with Amazon. And that's going to sound a little weird if anyone on here knows me because I'm a Facebook advertiser. But Facebook does not have the ability to give you data about your Amazon customers. You can use something called Zon Tracker, Z-O-N, like the end of Amazon Tracker. And I do not recommend Facebook advertising for Amazon if you don't have Zon Tracker, because the traditional way of advertising where you put a Facebook pixel up on your WordPress or Shopify, whatever platform you're using, Amazon does not vibe well with Facebook. So you need something to give you the data. So starting small with Amazon isn't necessarily a bad idea, especially if you don't have the money to pay for Zon Tracker. But if you've got a little bit of capital under your belt and you've already been doing page-like ads on Facebook, you've already been running some type of campaign on Facebook and you have a built-in audience and a little bit more money to spend, you could get Zon Tracker and advertise to Amazon.
Yes, yes. That would be my bet if you have the money for it, definitely, just from my experience as well. But if you don't, start on Amazon, go from there, build your sales, and then potentially start building up that Facebook base, I would say too. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are done. Thank you, ladies, so much. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to give away 3 more items. All you have to do is actually type in the chat, okay, the names of each of today's speakers. Just first name. We don't need last name, all right? And the first 3 people to do that, I will check after this, will get either a consulting or a social media audit, and I will even let you choose. Thank you so much for joining me for this virtual launch. You will get printables, fill out pages, downloads in an email following this event later this week, all right? As well as the link to my website if you want to schedule your discovery call. My name is Courtney Buchanan, and I am the proud founder of Courtney.CoMarketing, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Bye.